All right, welcome. Database 4280. This is a introductory database class at the graduate level. I guess that makes it introductory. We're going to talk just a little bit before we get into too much about what makes database special and why it's an important thing. And then we're going to look into the syllabus. I'm Philip Schlump, Professor Philip Schlump, and I'm your instructor for this class. Tiny bit on my background. I've built a successful venture-funded startup that was for the Oracle database, and I've also built a lot of applications on database. So I've had a lot of years of experience doing database stuff, and I'm still doing database stuff, although these days a lot of my focus is on blockchain. Now, the class. We have several different things going on in this class. First of all, let's just kind of like draw a diagram of what we're going on. We've got some things that I call interactive homeworks. The interactive homeworks, the site is in the syllabus. I'll also email it to you. You have a video, you've got some text, and then you've got an input box. There will be a demo of this as a part of this lecture. You've got an output box, and if you're getting data back, it'll actually draw this as a table down here, so that you can take a look at what you're getting. And there are 50 of these. They're short. The longest one is 13 minutes. The shortest one is 1 minute and 3 seconds. But on average, they're about 4 minutes. And these I've split up to be done over the next 5 weeks. Okay, so over the next 5 weeks, you've got these things to do, which is basically an introduction to the Postgres database and the SQL language and how the things work together. We also have going on a set of lectures. And this is the first one of those lectures. Across the course of the semester, we have 20 lectures. These are a little bit higher level than this is a table, this is how you create one. These are the bigger picture of this is how you use the stuff together. This is what it means. Why do you want to know database for getting a job in the computer field? Who uses it? How do applications work with a database? Now, part of this is that at some point we're actually going to take an application that I've written and we're going to attach it to a database. And there's two pieces to attaching it. There's an application server that you're going to modify an existing server to work with it. And then there's the actual database itself that you're going to have to design the database, implement the database to work with the application server. So I've written the application, and I will be giving that to you. But all of the stuff we're working on for your homework is the stuff down here. And the third thing going on in this class is we have 5 interactive sessions on Zoom. These are discussion groups, and you are expected to attend all 5 of them. I'm going to do them at 3 different times of the day. So you don't have to attend all 3 times. You just need to pick one time of the day to attend it. The same material will be covered. I will take attendance on those. But yes, there are 5 of these things. And these things are things that I have discovered in teaching other classes that are topics that you will want to discuss. One of them has a lot to do with personal security. Okay, but we're going to take a look at some things in a discussion format and actually talk about certain subjects in an interactive discussion. Now, collectively, these things make up a number of points, and those points determine your grade. So, we forgot one thing in here. Okay, there is, yes, in determining your grade, there is a midterm and a final. And that is the set of things that determines your grade. There we go. I knew I was missing one. So the midterm and the final are each, we'll have to look in here. I believe I made them 300 points. But they are not enough in and of themselves to make or break you in the class. Let's put it that way. They're each 300. They're not cumulative. Out of, yes, okay, 2,000 points for the class, for the semester. So guess what? you've got 500 points over here in this column. You've got 600 in this column. And the rest is these exercises that come from the lectures. Okay? And those are your assignments. There are some ones that are longer. Don't procrastinate on the longer ones. Okay? Or you will be in deep trouble because, yes, there is a late policy. So, the grades. These 500 coming from this interactive tool, I will be polling that periodically, probably every Monday, to see where you're at. And I will be pulling a grade report off of it. But all that grade report tells me is the total. And these things are kind of, these are kind of gimme points, because I give you, with the exception of 1 out of the 50, I actually give you the code in the text here that you can retype, run it, and get it to work so that you can get it graded. And each one of them is worth 10 points. So they're not very hard. And each week you've got about 10 of them to go do. But we will be talking about some of the same material that is in here in the lectures for our first few lectures, like what's a table, how does a database work, and a little bit of the history of databases and why it is the way it is. But these guys are to teach you enough to do these homeworks. So the homeworks over here are scheduled in a fashion so that you get through this material first before you need to use it over here. That kind of is the overview of the points, where they are, how much you have, and the breakdown is the normal UW one with 90% is an A, 80 is a B, 70 and above is a C, 60 and above is a D, and everything below that is unhappy. So that's kind of the syllabus. What other stuff have I left out? I have office hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 to 9 on Zoom and by appointment. And I will send out the Zoom link for this to you in email. I don't put it in here because I don't want anybody to get it and Zoom bomb us and show up just because I've published it on the web. So that's office hours. You can call me. My phone number is in here and my email. So, use those things judiciously. If you plan on calling me on the phone, you have to SMS message me first and tell me that you're in this class, what class number it is, and what your name is. Because I get maybe 10 robocalls a day. My phone number is out there for a bunch of different things like domain names. And consequently, if you're not in my phone book, then chances of me actually answering a call from you are pretty low. And I don't mind phone calls. I put in my hours from 7 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night. They're fine. And the other hours of the day, if you called, it wouldn't ring anyhow because I have the ringer turned off. So message or SMS is good. Email is good. And that's kind of the overview of this. There is a schedule in here of when the lectures are. And this is my planned release date for these lectures. They're all on Zoom in a playlist, and I will be sending out links to them. All of the content for the class is in GitHub. And there is a link in here for GitHub and where to go find it and what you need to do. Hopefully all of you at this point have used enough of GitHub that you have some idea how to access stuff and pull stuff and things like that. But I will have an overview in a lecture here coming up, a short section on how to use GitHub to pull stuff down. For instance, in GitHub, there is a directory in learn-db/HW that has the source code for all 50 of these interactive homeworks. And we will be using that source code for one of the homework exercises that you need to do, as in they're text files, and you have to go and read them and parse them. So in the process of reading and parsing them, we're going to end up programming. I've decided this semester that we're going to use Python. If anybody is not familiar with Python, I will get you a crash course link or two to get familiar with Python so that you can write a program. It doesn't have to be a super fancy program with 17 objects and all sorts of things. It needs to be open the files one at a time, read the contents one line at a time, parse out certain things that are easy to parse out, take that information, split it up, reorganize it, create it into stuff the database can ingest and have it ingest the data. Basically, insert some data. And make it so that those insert statements will work. So you're going to read a bunch of files and you're going to produce another file. But that is the most common way for lots of data to get into databases. For example, some years ago, and I do keep a copy of this updated for my own searching, I wanted to be able to do some patent research, and so I downloaded a copy of the United States Patent Database, and I had a bunch of text files, and I parsed the text files, and from the text files, I loaded all the text in all the patents since, I think, 1892 in the United States into a Postgres database, and then I built keyword information for that so that I can search the patents effectively. Now, my original copy of this predates Google Patent. Today, I just go use Google Patent to do the same thing. But I keep the database around because it makes a really good test database, because it is 57 gigabytes. So, when I say you read some text files, sometimes that's a lot of text files, but basically you parse them, you take them apart, you turn them into insert statements, and you put them in a database, and then you can search them. So this is the kind of things we're going to do, at least for one exercise. Now, although I think the interactive stuff is really good, I will also point out that just interacting with the database doesn't allow you to do stuff that is on top of an entire database. And part of a database class is being able to not just use the database, but also manipulate the database. So some of our homework over here, some of the assignments that we're going to get involve using the database, like how to back up a schema, how to set the security on the database for login. And these require that you actually install Postgres on your system. Now, if you have a Windows Surface that is running an ARM processor, you cannot install Postgres. In that case, my suggestion is that you get a $5 Linode or a $5 DigitalOcean droplet running Linux, and you install Postgres there, which will work just fine for the class in that section. It may work better, in fact, than running it on Windows. So, that is where we are with that.